Welcome to your next step up the self-publishing mountain.
I'm Matilda Swift, author of quintessentially British cozy mysteries.
And I'm Samantha Cummings, author of young adult books about magic, myths and monsters.
I've written the books,
Changed their covers,
tweaked their blurbs,
tried tools from a dozen ads courses.
and I'm still not seeing success.
Now, we're working together to plot and plan our way from barely making ends meet to pulling in a living wage.
Join us on our journey where we'll be mastering the pen to snag that paycheck.
Hello and welcome to Pen to Paycheck Authors Podcast. I'm Samantha Cummings, here with my co-host Matilda Swift, and we're here to write our way to financial success. We're two indie authors with over a dozen books between us and still a long way to go towards the quit the day job dream. If that sounds familiar, listen along for our mastery through missteps journey. Each week we cover a topic to help along the way. This week we're talking about improving our craft, but first, what are your wins and whinges of the week?
I feel like I've got so many wins. It feels like it's been such a long week since we last spoke. I think partly because this week I was just having mostly an admin week. So I just feel like I've done a million things in a good way. But the winning things, I've got my new Christmas nails.
Yes,
which I put
love
on
them.
Instagram. They look lovely. They match my next book, which is my next win. So my next book is out mid-December, but I'm releasing it as an Advent serial, so you get a chapter every day. My first serialization, and I'm so excited about it. And also, like, it looks really good. Like, the book is really good. I'm editing it at the moment, and it's like a really good Christmas book, which puts me in good mood about next year. I'm going to do a Christmas series. I also made myself like a personal, for me, advent calendar, which I went fully overboard with and like coloured it in. Picked 25 different books, so behind every little window is a book that I'm going to read on the day. Ordered myself from Amazon little scratch off foil discs, which who knew you could order that.
I love that. Honestly,
so
I watched that video that you posted about it like 3 times in a row because I was just I thought like I need these scratch things in my life, and I want you to like make kits where you can make your own advent calendar. You sell the stuff
I don't know why that's not a thing. I mean, also I could just post you some because I have got many spares, so I was going to offer you that if you would like. Are you going to make your own advent calendar then?
I would love to do that. Yeah, it would be so much fun. Okay. I also want to read
I will send you
a million
sufficient
books.
scratch off supplies for that.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, I recommend to everyone. So if you go on my Instagram, you can see it. And it was just like really fun, and it gives me something to post about every day in December, so I can just post myself scratching it off, talking about the book that I read yesterday, today's book. So it should be really fun. So I've now got 3 advent calendars. I've got a chocolate one, obviously, the scratch off book one, and then also the one that I'm running for readers, which I don't get to open because I wrote the book, so it's not surprising for me. But it feels very exciting. Also stuff I'm posting about and full of wins. Also, I'm prepping for my Christmas party. I have an annual like kick-off Christmas party every year, and I'm already starting to like prep all the goodies for it. And obviously gone overboard because that's the whole reason why I have a Christmas party, because I want to make everyone be Christmassy. But yeah, I'm fully excited. I've ordered my Christmas tree. I've done a lot, and that felt good. And this book is just so good. And like, it just feels like the most wonderful time of the year. What about you?
You're so ridiculous. I know. I love how much you love Christmas. I really love Christmas, but I don't get into that kind of Christmas spirit until December, like the 1st of December, generally. I have had a good week, but not as good as you. I went to see Wicked Part 2 at the cinema on Friday night. My local cinema had a premiere where like they have a little party and stuff. We went to the first one that they did as well. So they have a little party, and they had a yellow brick road going up the stairs to the cinema, and they put on cocktails and a buffet of food, and it was so good. And just, I love local things like that. I love local people basically being like, it felt like being in Gilmore Girls. It felt like going to the cinema and just having all these weird musical fans all being together at the same time. So much fun. Annoying. My whinge for that is that a few people talked basically the whole way through the film. Oh, you cannot imagine a more angry version of me. I was fuming, and I kept glaring at them and shushed them, and they did not shush. They didn't. They talked all the way through. That's my whinge. That's my only whinge. My other win is that my writing is going so well, and I really worried. I could have finished this book earlier if I'd tried a little bit harder. But I decided to take it easy and have just like a very relaxed writing month. And I say relaxed, this weekend I have written about 8,000 words. So for a lot of people, that's not relaxed. For me, that was relaxed. And I've got 5,000 words left to write. There's more to the story.
Of this whole book?
No, 5,000
No.
to hit my target. I think
Okay.
that probably I have. It's maybe only like 7 or 8,000 words left. It's not long to go. I'm like right at the end of the book.
Okay.
So I'll be finished in no time. I should be able to finish the whole thing this week, no problem. And I just have had such a good time writing it. It feels like I put a lot of pressure on myself because this is a new series and I really wanted to do well, which will lead into what we're talking about later. So I do feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself, but I like that. Like I've enjoyed the fact that I'm trying to make myself do better and to consider things a little bit more seriously and try and think about where the story is going rather than just winging it every time. So, which is basically what I've done for most of my books. I plan the book, but I don't plan the series. So that will nicely segue into today's topic.
Well, topic of the week, we're talking about craft, and I think specifically we sort of want to talk about this in the angle of how do you keep improving consciously without that becoming a procrastination tactic. So at least that was definitely that was my concern with like focusing on craft, because I love a bit of procrastinating learning. Is that something that you were concerned about in this area as well?
No, not so much procrastination. I love learning. I think we're both the same in that respect.
Yeah.
I would do a course for everything in my life that I could. I would.
Masters in creative writing.
Yeah.
Do not recommend. It's not very useful.
Yeah. I really wanted to do a master's in creative writing, and then they put the prices up, and I was like, forget it. But I love learning stuff, and I don't know if it doesn't feel like procrastination, but I always think that learning feels more like this is so probably not what people can relate to. Learning's so much fun that I don't
love learning.
think,
Like, I think a lot of writers can relate to it, because I think a lot of writers have got learner in the top 5 strengths, and it is the most fun.
Yeah, and I guess like I haven't ever put a lot of time or effort into doing it for this career, because I'm already doing this, so learning about it kind of felt, so the idea of learning more about writing kind of feels pointless, and like the learning is so fun. Surely I should be learning about stuff that I'm not already doing. Does that make sense? I should be learning. I want to be learning other things, not the thing that I'm spending all my time on, which is probably what makes most sense. I want to learn pottery. Like I am already doing the writing thing, so I need to learn something I'm not already doing. That's kind of where my brain goes when I think about progressing in this career. But I don't like that, because I want to learn more about this. So yeah, what about you? Do you think procrastinating is more your style?
It's definitely my concern, because I definitely will happily, I could spend the rest of my life like just learning one more thing and be like, oh, I'll just learn that, because also like I think it ties into my perfectionism of like I want to learn things and then act on them. And I really do think with writing that's not useful at all. You need to be, I think you learn so much by actually writing. And I do think that the more books I write, the better I get. But like I said, I have maths in creative writing, and it's definitely something that every time that comes up, like in the press, it's always like, oh, as if you can teach people to write. And it's like, and it's sort of like a shame, quite shameful, but like it's denigrated, right? And it's like, no one would ever say like, oh, you have to go to RADA to learn to act, like you didn't just know how to act. And it's like it's weird that we have this real separation of like, if somebody goes to RADA, which is I guess equivalent like the acting school at Yale, you know, that's an enormous sign of success, that like you're selected to go to this very elite drama school and then learn how to act. And then, you know, I know people who've been there who have gone on to become very successful actors and actresses, and you're like, well, it does teach you how to act, and there is a skill to acting. And like, because part of it is with acting, there are things you just couldn't learn yourself, right? Like how to engage with a camera and how to project across a theatre. Whereas with writing, because everything is narrative, and like we are read stories before we can even speak, and everything we imbibe in day-to-day life is in narrative form, like even our short form content is narrative. It almost feels like it is so essential to you that, like, of course you don't need to be taught that you can't teach someone to write. And it's like, you absolutely could. And this is why I say it's sort of not worth necessarily doing a creative writing master's. It's like, it's not set up that way. There is so much you could be taught about how to write, really, and like examine texts, and I'm sure there are in other programs. But then you get the issue of like at Iowa, right? Like in the Iowa school, you get everyone coming out writing like an Iowa story because you're taught how to write that specific sort of story. So there is the worry of like, also if you're learning craft, are you just getting rid of your own voice, and should you spend time discovering your voice?
Yes.
But no one's like, oh, Meryl Streep, like, just go away and discover your acting voice. Don't go to drama school. So it is that sort of like hard to figure out what part of it do I want to learn, and like what part of it am I not good enough at, or could I be better at, and what's the benefit to getting better at something. Like,
Yeah.
especially if you're writing genre fiction, right? Because what you want to be is like recognizably in that genre with your own somewhat distinctive style, but not going too far from the genre. So yeah, I'm just waffling with some ideas, but I do find it a really tricky thing of like, there's so much you could learn, and you could learn about, you know, like for a crime writer, for example, you could be studying different types of crime fiction and figuring out how they do twist differently or build tension differently. But how much you're going to use that in your own work?
Yes, I do
Or is
worry
it like
about
the adjectives, adverbs? I don't know.
Yes, yeah, like if I learn a physical skill, say like pottery, I know that I am good at that or have become better at that because there's a physical outcome. The first cup that I made when I started pottery was atrocious, and then the last one that I did was good. You know, so that I can see that I have become better. I feel like I have learnt something, and it's tangible. But my worry is that, and I've done this before, where I read books on mindset or craft in the past, and I don't know where the information goes. I don't know. I'm scared that I don't take it in at all, because as much as I love learning things and I love learning like creative stuff, I'm not a good student when it comes to like more educational, quote unquote educational things. Like I wasn't good at school because I learned by repetition and doing things, and I can't tell where the learning has changed me. So I've always in the past avoided learning more about writing and everything, because I don't know if it's a waste of time, because I don't know if I absorb that. I don't know if
Also, there's like 10,000 links to every single book that you write, right? There's like, there is the descriptions, the paragraph links, the sentence links, the tension, the character building. There's so many facets in there that like, it might even be that if you got better at, you know, one specific area. Say you said like, oh, I really think actually my character descriptions are a bit weak. And like, I feel like I don't describe people physically because I can't see pictures in my head, so I don't really notice that when I read. And so I was like, oh, I want to spend more time on that. Let me go through and like put that more in my books and really study that and improve it. And it's like, it might be that actually putting that in slows the pacing down. And that part of the thing that makes my books quite pacey is that I don't have a lot of physical description of people in. And humans can just fill in the gap, like you just fill in the gap in your head anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it's that there is so many, you're spinning so many plates. So like once you get to a stage of being like, I've now got all the plates spinning, I cannot stop and focus on one plate, or like take one plate down, repaint it, and then put it back up, because other plates will drop.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm at a good stage now to think about this, because I'm not at that stage where I've got too many plates spinning. I can take a step back. I was saying this last week about how I could take a year off and just work on doing other stuff and building up in a different way. I think that if we'd have talked about this specific topic a year ago, I would have felt like I had loads that I should have been learning. Like I had so little confidence in my writing ability. I've always thought that I had never believed that I'm a good writer. I've always just thought that I'm passable. Like I put sentences together and I know stories that I like, but I never believed that I was good at writing those stories. But now, after the last year, I actually do think I'm a good writer. And so now I'm at the point where I
Do you
know
think that's because your writing has changed or just your perspective on it has changed?
probably a little bit of both. I think because I changed genre, I put more effort into writing a different way. But I also noticed where my strengths lay that had come from just progressively working on writing. So I feel like I really enjoy the way that I write characters and character interactions, and I probably wouldn't have thought that last year. But as I was writing this new book and also finishing my last series, I find it really easy to write character interactions, and I love the patter between characters, especially characters that don't particularly get along very well. I love writing that stuff, and I think maybe last year or even the year before I wouldn't have thought that I was good at that. I would have just thought I was just writing. But now that I know that that's a strength that I have, and I saw it because I was able to put it into a different setting and found that I could still, there was like an active choice, like, oh, I'm doing a different like gothic setting that I've never done before. It's an academy series, so it's slightly different, like more of a confined space, whereas my other books have been far more open in terms of like the world. This is just how I picture things. So it's like, because it's in a school, everything's like far more claustrophobic, but I still managed to, like, the way that I put the characters in felt so nice and natural. I've come to realise that I'm good at that. That's something that I like about what I write. But I also have discovered that I have weaknesses because I've changed genre and gone in a completely different direction. Not completely different, but a slightly different direction. The holes in the boat have become more noticeable because it's become clear to me that I have weaknesses in my skill level that I would like to fix so that I don't, like, my boat doesn't sink in a couple of books' time.
Okay. In what way has it become clear to you? Like, is that coming from external sources or just from you rereading stuff?
From me, just from me and external. But I have always joked about the fact that I drag out an act two. I love an act two, and I write so much into the build-up of a story.
Of a 5-act or of a 3-act?
Of a 5-act. So I love. It's like, and people have commented on the latest book that I released saying, oh, it's a bit of a slow to build, and then it gets to the...
It's interesting, like, I think a lot of those comments have been like, oh, I don't normally like a slow to build, but I really like this. Or like, oh, I felt like it wasn't going to go anywhere, but then, like, I realised where it was going.
But I feel like
maybe that's just your voice
could,
style, or do you think it could change?
I think I could do better. That's the thing. Like, I know I've always said that my Act 2 is super long, and I know it is, and I'm so bad at editing it down because I think that everything that I'm putting in is important, but it's not. It's not, like, I could be a lot more selective in my editing and tighten up the story, and that's definitely something that I, at this point, think I should really learn how to structure it a little bit better, how to kick off the action a little bit faster, and I do think that's a me problem. I don't think that's just I don't think that's like a fun thing anymore. I do think that that's something like maybe I could be better at that. So that is something that I actually actively want to focus on, is being a little bit more snappy with my storytelling. And I haven't looked into anything about like courses or books to read. I have got a list on my phone, like I've got a Substack list of books to help get you writing better. But that's definitely something that I think at this point in time I need to take time out and learn a better way of telling a story.
When we were talking about this initial topic, like the question was, do you just improve through doing it more, or do you take time out to learn and do it? And like I would say one of the huge benefits that I feel from writing shorter books is that I'm forced to face the same problem and like be hit in the face by the same problem again and again. So imagine if you had to like fix that same Act 2 6 times in 1 year. You'd be like, you know what?
Well, I'm gonna get better at this. And that's the thing. It could be that when I come to edit this book that I'm writing at the moment, because I'm very much more aware of the fact that I don't want people to say in this second book, still drags a bit. Like the start of it
Mm-hmm.
still drags. I will probably auto-correct that myself
Mm-hmm.
because I've decided that that's a problem. But I still would like to read some books on the best ways to kickstart action.
And it's interesting, like, why do you think, and this is not necessarily saying like a critical, this is just like I'm intrigued. Like, why do you think it's feels easier for you to have books to read about it rather than just read other books in your genre that you think do it well?
I do want. I don't. This is a me problem. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are like this. I'm not a critical reader. I
Mm.
don't read critically, and if I tried to, I probably could. But I think that it would take away my enjoyment of reading to turn it into homework. Even though I do have like a big list of books that I want to read as sort of homework, I don't think I'm very good at critical reading. And I just get so swept up in a story that I forget that I'm supposed to be paying attention to stuff.
Like my December advent calendar that I'm doing for myself, the scratch off one, has got 25 Christmas cozies in there because I think I don't practice enough critical reading, and I think I'm quite good at doing it naturally. Like that's maybe one of the things that I got from doing that creative writing degree was like a big focus on kind of critiquing other writers. But I don't select my books carefully enough in order to say like I want to work on this thing, so I'm going to critically pick these books to work on. I know they do it well or they do it badly. Picking a kind of subgenre, a bit like you were saying, like transferring genre to a slightly different one has kind of helped you think again about this. Like switching slightly into writing like a Christmas cozy series means that like I get another chance to say I really want to analyze books and think what works and what doesn't work. And I have with Gemini put together like a list of things to check for and like check off, like just so I can force myself to not get to the end and be like, wait, what happened there? Or how was the pacing there? Where was it set? Even like I have a terrible memory for books.
Yes, me too.
Like even my own books, I was like, I don't know what
Yeah.
happened in that book. Who killed anyone? Don't know. Just a good time was had by all. But yes, so and maybe that's a useful thing that you could try as well. Is like just making a checklist because I'm hoping it's going to be very useful rather than just getting to the end of the month and thinking like, oh, I've read 25 books and now what?
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm more reading for. I think almost like to consciously check things that I would do naturally, because that's also part of like how I got into cozy mystery genre was like I didn't know cozy mystery was a thing. I just wrote the first couple of chapters of something and took it to a writing group and someone else said that's a whole genre, and I was like, oh, cool, I'll keep writing this book then and see what happens. And I did not at all consciously decide to write a cozy mystery. I just had imbibed enough, there's in the UK everything is a cozy mystery.
Yes.
Everything on TV or books or movies essentially are cozy mysteries. So like I got enough input there, but I didn't then go and say like, okay, I'm going to really make sure I hit all the beats. I was not organized enough about it. And with my current series, the one that I really wanted to write to market, like I wrote it to market conceptually, but I didn't go and look at it from a craft point of view. And that's what I want to do with the Christmas series, is like really look at it and think, what point of view are people using? What's the pacing like? What types of side characters do we have? And even thinking about like how much description's in there, what type of description is in there, how much dialogue, because I think actually a lot of cozy mystery books have much more dialogue than I use. And I might want to just think like, oh, if it's everything in the genre, is like, oh, I kind of want to be smacked over the face or like smacked over the head with like, stop ignoring the fact that everyone is using 10 times more dialogue than you, and it makes the books snappier.
Yeah.
I want to be forced to see that, but also take notes while I'm doing it. Which is we're going to talk about more next week, but like really that is, I'm looking at things from a craft point of view while I'm doing that.
Yeah, that's the same with me. Like a lot of the stuff that probably we're going to talk about next week. I don't want to give too much away about next week's episode, but similarly, I have got a list of books that I want to read, and there are other things that I would really like to work on. Like I would love to be able to work romance into my books in a little bit of a better way. So I need to read more in order to see, because I don't really pay attention to romance in books, and I love romance in books, which is insane. I've grown up reading all like the classic YA books, which are just supernatural romances. So I probably know more than I think I know, but I would really like to focus. I'd like to take a lot of time to specifically look at the beats that people are hitting with romance stuff. But I also just really want to work on my character developments, and I love an ensemble cast. So that's quite common in YA books. Is obviously you've got your main character, but it's really the characters around them are just as important. And I really want to. Like, my dream would be to be known as somebody who writes a fantastic ensemble cast. But basically, like Buffy, like everyone in Buffy is a fantastic character. Love them, I hate them. Yeah, exactly. Love them, I hate them. Even the characters that we hate, they are so specific. They are so well written, and you know exactly who they are just from like the smallest bits of interaction that they have with people. And I would love to get better at that. And I think that I'm okay at that, but I have read reviews of my recent book, and some people have commented, and I don't want to take reviews on board too seriously, but some people commented that they thought that some of the side characters were a bit generic, and that's like the last thing that I want. I don't want to write generic characters. I really want to be somebody who people think writes really specific and really well imagined characters. So I do have a couple of courses that I signed up for a while ago, but I've never got around to doing, which is about how to write like YA, how to structure a YA story, and like how to develop the characters. And I just have never gotten around to doing anything with that. So I bought the courses and I just like thought, well, good job, Sam. You said you were going to do it, and now you can just do it whenever. And that's that's my procrastination. Is once I have the thing, once I've made the decision, my brain's like, well, you've done it. You bought the course, so effectively you've done it, and I haven't. Can
I give a weirdly specific recommendation for anyone who is looking for that exact thing? I just watched, because part of what I was doing this week is because I had an admin week. I was also like, I also want to be rested, and like I said, I've got to edit next week. I want to get rested and do some like reading or watching TV. I, for the first time ever, watched Broadchurch. And I was so struck by, in the first episode, every single character, in a very natural way, gets such good backstory, and like you wouldn't notice it unless you're looking for it. But I watched series 2. I just started series 2, and it's the same again, and like it is done so well that it's slipped in. It's done with quite a lot of space around it, so you're kind of intrigued by their backstory without it feeling like a amorphous mystery. Something's going to happen here. You're like, no, I know that the writer knows exactly what's going to happen here. Yeah, and that was really good. I would definitely recommend that if anyone's wanting to kind of do more to do with side characters. There's a lot of characters in Broadchurch. It's again another British crime show, which I'm sure most people have watched. It's got Olivia Colman, David Tennant in.
Yeah. Oh, I watched that. I did not like it, but that's just me. I don't like British stuff. So I can't even,
super British.
I can't even imagine why I would have watched it, because I would never watch anything like that. But I've definitely seen it on TV, and I definitely watched the overactingness of everybody in it and hated every second of it.
That's interesting, because that's not how I describe it. I would say it's Olivia Colman's worst hair, like deliberately bad hair. She's meant to be sort of a fraught.
Also,
person.
it's on a beach. Like there's a lot of like cold. I hate the cold. So even on TV, I don't.
Situation.
This is why I don't like British stuff, because when I see British stuff, I'm just like, oh, but I bet it's cold, and I don't want anything to do with it. So I'm like, no, not for me. It looks like a cold place, and I don't like it. So easily put
it looks like not a fun holiday location. I would not go
not a fun
I don't
holiday.
like an English beach holiday.
No.
I'm sure many people would enjoy it. It's picturesque, but like through the TV. But it reminds me of like childhood cold beach visits, and like never mind. I'll stay indoors.
Too close to home, and that's my problem. Is
the writing
British
of it
stuff is
spectacular.
Yes, I think the writing. I remember it being. It was maybe that's why I watched it, because maybe I found it compelling enough that I got caught up in it, because I wouldn't normally watch something like that. And I saw a few episodes of it, but don't think I'd watch it again. But that's just me, because I am an awful person who won't watch anything British.
Yeah, I mean that is a loss, because it's a good crime drama. I mean, also I'm always looking for a crime drama. I don't know. I didn't watch it the first time, and I think it came out when everyone was living overseas. And then I don't really like watching stuff that everyone's talking about, and never mind.
Same.
Not But it was really good.
We're such like ridiculous people. Like, oh, popular is it? Then I don't think
Yeah.
it's good.
I'm too cool for it. No, but I think
Yeah.
what's interesting is like when we're talking about working on craft, it can just
Mm-hmm.
be being more aware of your own issues, like things you want to work on.
Yes.
Because I
Yeah.
definitely think one thing that I really want to work on more is giving more characters an interesting back story or like an interesting motivation. Every single character in that, like including side characters, had a motivation and they had a thing they wanted. Even people who had no, like, very minimal impact in the plot. There's what's the Jonathan Bailey? Jonathan Bailey's in it. Not one of his most attractive roles, but like quite attractive. He's not terrible.
Yep.
But he could have been nothing. He could have been he's like a local journalist. He could have been just a throwaway character. But like the very maybe first time we see him, he's just got rejected for a job he's applied for. And he really wants to be working in a bigger newspaper. And it's done through small, subtle, like similar types of like rejections or issues that he has. There's no point at which he comes in and says, "Oh, I'm too big for this small town. I must get out of here." And I think I
Yeah.
really want to get better at having those like little hints of like somebody that has a motivation that's going to cause them to. Because the way it comes out later is in the first episode. Yes, I think the way it comes out later in the first episode, it has an impact on the plot because he has to decide whether to do something that's basically immoral but might help him, or moral and will help his community. And he makes a decision based around what we know about him. And that was just like, it could have been a nothing point. Like, it was not a necessary plot point, but it made the plot much, much stronger to have just dozens of things like that in.
Yeah.
And I think because I'm thinking about that area of craft, it made me notice it more and think about it more.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely a useful thing for kind of working on craft, is like just consciously watching stuff and being a critic as you're watching and reading.
Yeah, I'm definitely a critic of TV shows and films, which is strange because I really, really get absorbed into everything that I read and watch and stuff. I'm like the sort of person who really feels like they have been transported somewhere else. I easily let go of reality and I'm just somewhere else. But I'm really, really good at critiquing films and TV shows, and I really see the structure. Maybe because I am a very visual person. I can see the structure a mile off. So when I watch TV shows and films, I know exactly what did work and what didn't work. But I just don't apply that kind of level of thinking to books. And maybe it's like a dyslexic thing. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm reading in a way that's not beneficial to absorbing stuff. Like as I skim read,
I do think in visual mediums you get more cues. So like there's a music cue, there's a visual cue, there's a dialogue cue, and you can often tell like, oh, they're going to be a bad guy. And like you can be sat with people who don't constantly analyze literature and be like, oh, he's a bad guy, and they're like, no, I don't think so. Like, yeah, give it 2 minutes, he's the bad guy. Whereas if you're reading a book, because there are like 1,000 different skills at writing a book, there's like the grammar patterns, there's the sentence structures, there's the vocabulary, there's paragraph lengths, like there's a million things in there, but they don't all work together to form like a dun 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 sort of like even subtly. So I think it's definitely easier to see in TV and movies.
Things. I remember when I was doing my degree, I was thinking about this morning. I don't know why, it just came into my head. When I was doing my degree, I did English literature and language, and one of the things that we were doing was we were given a piece of work, and then we had to critique it and then talk about what, like, it was a poem or something. I don't know what it was. It was some sort of thing. And everybody in the room, this is like one of the only classes that I went to, because it was completely online apart from this one course. So I went to this one course thing, and everybody in the room picked up that it was written in iambic pentameter. And I turned to the person next to me and I was like, did you pick that up? And they were like, yeah. And I didn't, I did not, because I don't read the same way that other people read. I don't read, I like skim, and my eyes kind of like go up and down and I'm all over the place. And I just don't think that I take in the written word in the same way that other people do. And I think I miss a lot of the cues, which is like a weird thing to think. I don't know if that affects my writing in any way, but when I write, I'm watching a film in my head and writing it down. So I don't know. I don't know how that plays out. Like I can't critique my own work either. So I don't know if there are any gaps or anything. That's like a fun to realize.
Yeah, I think to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, I wonder what my writing's really like. I like it from my point of view of the person who skim reads.
Mm. And maybe that is why you end up writing a longer act two,
Mm-hmm.
is just because you like maybe you would skim read an act two and you were like, yeah, let me just stuff in those things and it won't feel long, whereas most people are reading every word and to them it's going to feel like,
Yes.
oh, this is going on.
Oh, epiphany.
Epiphany.
I'm really like, yeah, I must really spend a lot of time in Act 2 just discovering, like, I'm just using all the words I can think of.
Mm.
And to me, that doesn't feel like a long time, but to other people who read, like, densely, to them it does feel like a long, oh, wow. Oh no. Fun. Fantastic. Okay, then, yes, I will work on that. In some way.
Somehow, yeah.
Somehow I will figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know how
One
yet.
thing I figured out recently about my craft, and it didn't feel like it was craft related, but then the more I thought about it, the more I realized it was, is that like I find it much easier to write better books if I write in a very condensed manner, as in time wise. So I just spend like a week doing nothing else, like not really being a human. So when we went to the monastery for the retreat, I did a weekend at the other end as well. And when I went to Greece for a retreat earlier in the year, we essentially did nothing else either. Like we ate out and we wrote on a schedule. Like we had a big schedule on the wall. And I did nothing but write and be like in the book. And I found it so much easier to write, and the writing was better than when I tried to write a little bit every day.
Yes, I find
And
that.
part of it, I think, is because I pretend to be a planner, but I'm not. And I want to discover a lot of the story as I'm writing because I want to be surprised by it. I want it to not be an obvious, like, find clue A leads to clue B leads to this suspect. I always want to be surprised by who the murderer is, and even like who the victim is and why they were killed, because I want it to come out of everything that we learn in the plot. And so I want the whole plot and every character and everything that's happened to be in my head at once. And I think I said before we came on that I read through today the novella that I'm editing next week. That's my serialized Christmas novella, and I wrote another novella earlier this year, and neither novella needs much editing at all. Like it, because this books are so short. There's a whole murder mystery in there. There's multiple characters. There's a whole, many suspects. There's a side plot. There's everything you would have in a fuller book, but it's condensed down. There are fewer side plots. But just because I can keep everything in my head at once, I can move throughout the book backwards and forwards, hop around to go back in and fill in things I needed to make it work later. And then I can also be like, oh, this chapter feels like it's dragging. Let me just go back in and redo it because I've realised now this needs to be fast at this pace. And it really just needs like a few paragraphs per chapter having it polished. Whereas previously when I first started this series, the first book I rewrote 2 whole times. And then the next few books, I had whole chapters that needed cutting or just like, this chapter is so boring. Why is this in here? And the parts of my last book that needed most editing were ones that were written after that intense period. So like the more I keep in my head at once, the more the book feels active and I can make choices. And that means that I was very noticeable actually in this novella. There's a lot of like all the whimsical points are already in. Whereas if I'm having to write it over a longer period, I'll just put like add fun details here, or I'll write a really dull-sounding chapter and realize afterwards like, oh, I need to add fun details. Whereas if I'm able to keep the whole book in my head, the whimsy is like part of it, and the whimsy by the whimsy, like descriptions of cute weird things around the town that make a crazy mystery. And yeah, so I need to have, and like, that's sort of a craft thing. I think for me, it feels like a craft thing. It's like I need to have every single part of the book in my head at once.
Yeah, that's.
I need to be in the map.
Yeah, you do need to be in the map. Yeah, but you also like because you don't have a visual imagination that you don't watch the film first, so it makes sense that you have to you have to basically follow the buzz rather than
and just find what's happening in there.
Yeah. It's funny. I was thinking about this recently because I've just finished reading the first Buffy the Vampire Slayer book. Because if you're a super fan like me, they released these really small books that were like an episode a book, and they don't follow the episodes of the TV show. The first book is the first episode, the pilot episode, and then the rest of the books are standalone episodes, so like outside of the series.
How do they deal with like bigger arcs?
They don't really. It's not. It's like a new universe. It's not. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Imagine. So some of the things do happen. Like some characters come into them that come into the TV series and things, but they don't really mention the bigger plot points. They're just like, this weekend the carnival came to town, and then bad things happen.
Okay.
And then there were some like really big plot books where like something insanely big and like there's like a huge fight and stuff, an epic battle, and it's a completely separate universe. It's fantastic.
And you'd be like, they would have mentioned that in the TV show.
Yeah, but they're so good. And I read the first book this week, and they're just like small books. You can shove them in your pocket if you want to. They're not very long, but they do such a good job of telling a story in such a short space of time. And it really made me wonder if I could write shorter books that packed as much of a punch as those books do. And I'm setting myself the challenge of rereading all the books that I've got to see if I can discern like how they did it. I think a lot of the time they rely on the fact that you already know the characters. But there are other...
which was the issue that I had when I just watched the Jonas Brothers Christmas movie. Where I was like, which Jonas brother is which? I feel there's a lot of backstory I don't know here.
Yeah,
because it's a very weird film.
It's very difficult for me to read it and obviously forget that I know what the story is. But a lot of the further books in the series are nothing to do with anything else. So they're all kind of standalone stuff. And I'm really looking forward to reading them and seeing if I can figure out what makes those books work when they're so small and so short. Because I write quite long books, and maybe I'm doing myself a disservice and I need to write shorter books, and maybe that would help me. So I'm on a big learning curve. I'm on a big quest to try and figure out.
And maybe
stuff.
also worth like finding a novelization of a TV series that you haven't watched.
Yes,
just to kind of compare the two and be like, oh, how I can see here how they're getting away with not characterizing these people because I already know them. And in this other novelization, I've got no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
Yes. Ooh, could I find a book series that I've not watched a TV show of? We'll see.
Yeah. I think surely.
You would think. Actually,
like the 80s and 90s was a big time for novelizations. I bet there's a lot out there that you haven't seen.
Yeah. I have grown up glued to the television. So. Yeah. But yeah, I am going to look into it and see if I can figure that out.
Maybe there's a Broadchurch novelisation for you. Oh,
yeah. Maybe. Yay. I think I'm going to stick to my genre and still read young adult books. Yeah, I feel like I don't know if I've come to a good conclusion here of whether you learn just from doing or whether you should take the time out. I don't know. I still don't know the answer. I think both. I think that I'm going to figure out a way to do both. I do specifically want to take time out to learn things. But
I mean, also the question is, what's the purpose of it, right? Because if you're going to take time out to do it, what's your goal? Because we have talked
to be the best.
Well, we've talked about various books recently off podcast where we've been reading different books, both in our genre and out of the genre, where we've been surprised by the book's quality being like maybe just okay or not even great at all. And it's a lot of just marketing, or some people are more interested in like plot than description, and it's like, is it maybe more about finding the people who like your style as it is, and is there a minimum point to like spending time on improving craft if you write in certain genres?
I think that it might just be a personal thing rather than like trying to serve readers, because you're right, I think readers and the things like readers will like what you write and readers won't like what you write, no matter how good you are. People will hate it, people will love it. I don't feel like I don't really care about what other people think. I think it's just more for my benefit. I want to feel like I'm doing the best I can do. And right now, I think I'm doing a really good job, but I also know that I would love to do better for myself. Like to feel like I didn't have that many holes in my boat, to go back to my analogy, like whatever. Why do I always bring boats and water into it?
I think if one boat, like one hole is bad for a boat. Like
one hole is fine for a boat.
Have you seen Titanic?
That was a giant hole, and it was like throughout. But one hole you can plug, or you can like just siphon water out if you need to. I just don't want multiple holes in the boat. That's it. I can patch one hole. I just don't want 10 holes. This has gone out of control. I've lost it. I've lost the analogy. We'll move on.
I mean, they're tough to wrangle, our analogies. Just slightly off topic, as I can say, I just watched the Snowpiercer, the film. I'd watched a TV series a while ago, but I just watched the film of it, which has got a lot of holes in the train. It was so good. I've never come across it the first time it was out.
I haven't seen the whole film, but I always catch bits of it on TV, and every time I'm sucked in. Like, I need to watch this whole film. I love a train.
It's really well done. Yeah. It's on maybe Prime or Disney. It's leaving soon anyway. Whichever one it's on, it's leaving soon. So that's why I watched it.
It's always on. I always see it. Yeah, it's constantly coming and going. It's just always comes back into my life for some reason. I see it all the time. All the time.
It does not come into my life often. But that I think I was surprised by the characterization. I think because I've seen the TV series and it's quite glossified and like Americanized. Like it's originally a French graphic novel, and then it was done as like a Korean and American co-production. And I think even the TV series is Korean and American co-production, but it felt very like big studio. And the movie of it felt French. Like it felt like a Julien Caro film. It felt weird. Anyway, so strong recommend for that. If you've not watched all the way through, it was good. Also, anyone else really enjoyed Snowpiercer? I feel like we are rambling today, but in like a way that I think this is quite a rambly topic.
Yeah.
Because there's not one answer. There's not like, yes, you must improve your craft in X, Y, and Z ways. It's more just like, why do I want to improve? What do I want to improve? How would I improve it?
Yeah.
And what am I going to do?
Yeah, I like to be more like introspective. It's not. I never want to be the sort of person who thinks that they have the answer and wants to tell people the thing to do. It's like I'm just looking to make my life feel better. It's always about how I feel selfishly. I just want to feel like I'm doing a good job and I enjoy the job I'm doing. Don't love your job your love.
You mentioned what you think about shorter fiction, how that would maybe fix things. So I'm going to do a small bit of bullying. How's the novella coming along? You taking a long sip of your drink there?
It is still 5,000 words out. I haven't done any work on it because I've just been doing other stuff. But I could finish it any day, and that's my problem. I could finish it any day, so I have not yet. But I keep saying, I'm going to put it into BookFunnel next month. But I am definitely putting it into BookFunnel in December, so it will be finished. I might work on it. I'm away in Harrogate, not this week, but the week after, so the first week of December. And I don't plan on writing, but I could work on that just as a fun thing to be doing. So I'll be taking my laptop anyway, so I will finish it in 2 weeks. I promise.
Okay.
I promise.
Prequel novella to your current series.
It is.
That is book one is out in, and that you are committed to having no 0 months, so you want to get people through the series.
Yes.
This would be a good way to do it.
Yes, correct. And so far, since I've said that, I haven't had a 0 month, so yay me!
Excellent.
I'm trying so hard.
Yeah, I think you're doing all the things, doing the right things. So we're doing it. Yes, I think I had one more thing related to craft that I wanted to talk about. Oh, your book list. Do you want to find the list or the link to it and share it so I can put it in the show notes?
Yes, I will. I won't read it out on here. We'll just put it in the show notes. But it It's on Substack. The name of the Substack, or the title of the thing, is 7 books that will make you a better writer and why. Because that's what I hate. I hate when people just give you a list of books and don't actually say why. So this person has gone to the effort of actually saying why they think these books help. And I have been looking through the list for the last couple of days, just trying to get my head around it, and have already decided on the ones that I'm not interested in, the ones that I am interested in. So it's nice. I'm thinking of getting Kindle Unlimited. We've been talking about this in December, and then asking for Christmas. I'm going to ask somebody or my family to pay for an annual subscription, just to see if I can, somebody else pay. So I'm going to stick those on my Kindle, and have at it, effectively.
Yeah. I think for me, I've got and read a lot of craft books. I love, obviously, a bit of craft learning, so I've read a lot of books about craft. I think one thing I always get stuck against is like there are so many variations in writing. Like there's so many different book types, and there's so many different ways you can construct a book, and so it can't be like, oh, just write this sort of sentence.
No,
there's nothing on that. So it's like often I think those craft books, I think I'm often going there looking for that, and I do feel like everyone in the indie world is like obsessed with Jennifer Lynn Barnes, because she came in with like incredibly concrete, specific things, like do these things in your books. And this is also the same with like, Theodora Taylor's Butter book, of like, do these things, and like that will improve the content of your writing and the way in which people engage your writing. And I do think that is a thing that is on my list to work on next year, is like looking for more things like that aren't necessarily craft in terms of use fewer adjectives or write more snappy dialogue. I'm looking for like what directly impacts the reader's experience of my writing. I've already done some research to it, but I want to make it a big project next year, so that is a thing I will have more news on then.
Yes.
And I do just think there's not enough of that out there, and a lot of the craft books are more like motivational and quite fluffy, and just like, but what do I do?
I love to see a craft book where it gives you actual examples of stuff where you can really see it. So I remember I was reading a book about script writing, because I did script writing for my degree, and I've done it just for fun on the side because I love it. And my favourite thing is when they're talking about a precise thing that somebody would use in a script to move the story on, or to show a particular characterization, and then show you a page from a script from a film that is so well known. So like in Indiana Jones or Jaws, Back to the Future, and because I'm such a film person and such a visual person, I love to be able to see the example and know exactly how that has worked. So they're the sorts of books that I'm really looking for, is things that really show you like, this is how you show like a character's motivation in this specific way, and then like there's an example that I immediately can just see. So they're the sorts of books that I need. I'm not interested in books that just, like you say, like are just a bit of fluff and tell you like random stuff that you're supposed to remember once you've closed the book. I don't remember anything once I've closed a book. So I need a visual, I need an example. It's like when you do a crossword and you get to flick to the back of the book to see what the crossword should look like. Oh, that's the answer. Yeah, that's what I thought. Or a jigsaw. Like, you need to know what the jigsaw's supposed to look like. That's my sort of, that's how I learn. Show me an example. I can copy that.
Yeah. If you've got books that you find like that would be fantastic to share. Yeah, and if you think there should be more of that, maybe there is more of that I don't know about. So people, please do recommend more of that if you know of it.
Yeah, I think we were like, oh, nothing to talk about this episode, and we're coming up to an hour as usual. Love a good ramble, but I think we are both done. You have nothing else to add. So next week we are going to be talking about how to market research for a new series, which is why we're talking about reading lots of books. So do you have any thoughts on that already?
No, but I am... No, and the answer's not no. The answer's yes. I've got loads of thoughts on it. Yes, I've got loads of thoughts on it. But I don't have anything quick and easy digestible that I haven't already talked about today. I think it is another step. Like I'm another step forwards in like professionally preparing books in a series that I haven't really done before. I think when I have done market research, it's been accidental. Been like, yeah, I've watched Broadchurch, I've seen these TV shows and read these books. I know about this genre. But to actually go through and be like, okay, looking at a smaller segment of a genre, so looking at just Christmas cozies, I could read most of them, given a couple months. So I've just picked 25, and like that is a very good subset of the genre to then go through and read at Christmas. And just analyze. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to thinking about it for next week. So we're recording that just before the start of December, so just before we both start our big research projects, and like actually making myself a plan. That's what I want to talk about next week. Like really, what's my plan? Don't just dive in and read the books, and then at the end of the month, like, wait, what?
Yeah. Like, oh, what was I doing? I just read all these books and I forgot. Yeah, that's my thing as well. Is like I have a list of books that I want. Like I've been putting them into a list on Amazon. Everything's in a list. I've got so many lists. And I want to make a plan of when I'm going to be reading them, and also what I want to take away from each book. That's my thing. Because like I say, like I read a book and I'm just so absorbed in it. But I guess I just want to make sure I'm not trying to learn everything from every book. I just want, I need to figure out what I want to learn from each book. I think that would make me feel a lot better. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And hopefully when we come to talk about it, I will have figured that out more. Yes, thanks. Okay, thank you very much everyone for listening. We'll see you next week. If you are looking to donate some money to somebody at some point soon, you can jump into our coffee.
It's Christmas.
Yeah, it's Christmas. If you want to send us some pounds, pennies, or I don't know, millions our way, feel free to do so. 'Tis the season.
Ideal quantity.
Yes, they're the only ones. We also, of course, have the Discord, which we invite everybody to join, where we talk about everything that we've talked about in the podcast, but also just chat in general to everybody. And it's a very good Discord, and we all have a lot of fun. And there's lots of sharing of information and jokes to be had. So definitely head on over there if you have not already. And we will see you next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Pen to Paycheck Authors.
Stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe to learn how to write your way to financial success.